Russia has reported over 10,000 coronavirus cases for 3 days in a row. Russia is now the 7th most affected country in the world due to the pandemic. Last week, Russia surpassed China, Iran and Turkey in the total number of cases. Now it sits just behind Germany. The number of confirmed cases went up by 10,102 cases over the last 24 hours. That's a rise in cases by over 10,000 for the third consecutive day. The latest spike takes the total number of cases to over 155,000. Russia also reported 95 new deaths, taking the total death toll to 1,451. This is the lowest death toll for a country in the top 10 worst affected countries in the world. More than half of all the deaths and cases have been in Moscow, where the best medical resources are concentrated. Russia even has around 27 ventilators per 100,000 people. Now that's better than the 18.8 ventilators per 100,000 people in the US, according to the Johns Hopkins University. But here's the catch. Medical experts say that most of Russia's ventilators are old and sometimes broken. 4 out of the 8 regional governors who spoke with President Vladimir Putin in April complained about not having enough ventilators. At the beginning of the year, Russia was making less than 100 ventilators per month. But Putin has said that production will be ramped up to make over 800 ventilators in April and 2,500 in May. Russia has extended the lockdown once so far. On the 28th of April, Putin extended the lockdown measures for another 2 weeks. That means that the lockdown is scheduled to end on the 11th of May. Now, with the daily surge in cases, it is to be seen if Putin will choose to extend the lockdown yet again. Our correspondent, Lucy Taylor, has sent us this report from Moscow.
Well, of course, there's lots of theories about why we're seeing this surge in cases. This is the third day in a row that's had a daily rise of more than 10,000 cases in Russia. On Sunday, that 10,600 new cases on Sunday was a record, and it hasn't fallen very far since then. So lots of people speculating why that might be. It might be that we're seeing the spread as this virus plays out across the different regions of Russia, reaches rural areas that are less equipped to cope, where previously the epicenter of this outbreak has been in Moscow. There are those critics who say it shows that the government isn't handling this outbreak effectively, that the restrictions on movement here in Moscow and elsewhere haven't been tight enough. Some people even point to 3 weeks ago now, when the government brought in those restrictions that require a digital pass when you go outside anywhere in Moscow, when you travel across the city, you need a digital pass to on your phone. When those restrictions were first brought in, the first day that they were being policed, it led to a lot of crowds, a lot of queues as those passes were checked. Some people ask, well, did that help to spread the virus at all? But the government says this rise in cases is because it's testing more. It's finding more confirmed cases because it's testing more. It says that its restrictions are working, and although we're still approaching the peak here in Russia, it says the outbreak is under control, and it points to the low number of deaths, the relatively low mortality rate here in Russia compared to most other countries in the world. For the number of confirmed cases, which is over 155,000, there are only 1,451 deaths so far, so much lower deaths than other neighbouring countries, and the government says that's evidence that it is handling this outbreak appropriately and the country is coping with coronavirus.